We just heard from the officials in Nevada. Certainly, it does look like there's a sense of impatience, and it's growing now when it comes to this particular process. But officials are saying they don't want to leave anything to chance, and they want to make sure that they do their work thoroughly. But certainly, they're not going to stop being under pressure, are they not? Are they going to?
Right, you're right. The world is watching. I hope you can hear me better this time. Let me know if it's a problem.
It's much better.
Good. Excellent. Yes, we all here in the U.S. are watching. All over the world, people are watching. But we're basically watching democracy in action here. And as VP Joe Biden said, sometimes it's messy. Sometimes we have to be very patient, and it takes a long time. But we're dealing with a pandemic. There is a flood of mail-in ballots. Those need to be counted. And I thought he explained it very well, that there's a machine that sorts and compares. The signature has to match with the state signatures. And if it's good, then that's fine. If there's a problem, then people have to look at those signatures and make some kind of judgment. And voters have a chance to what's called cure those signatures, to fix it if there's a problem. So that's what's going on. But it may not actually come down to Nevada. It could. If Joe Biden wins Nevada and Arizona, then he has the 270. But on the other side, here on the East Coast, everybody's watching Pennsylvania.
Now, Cindy, as a diplomatic correspondent based in Washington, D.C., as you are saying that everyone is watching this outcome, I mean, given the fact that over the years, America has been seen as a model of a democracy through which countries should look up to, how has this stalemate been received? What you're currently seeing is the fact that it looks like President Trump may have to be dragged out of the White House from where things are. How has the statement been received within the diplomatic corps? But also, what do you think? How do you think this will impact America's influence in global politics?
Right. Well, that's a very good question. I mean, as I said, I think the good news is that the votes are being counted, even though it's taking a while. Actually, this was to be expected. And some states with Republican state legislatures, like Pennsylvania, voted to not allow the mail-in votes to be counted until after Election Day. So that was basically, they did this on purpose, more or less. Other states like Florida were able to count their election votes, which is also a Republican legislature, were able to count their mail-in votes beforehand. So as you know, it's different from state to state. But I am heartened by the record numbers of turnout that Americans, despite the pandemic, turned out to vote. I am heartened by these election officials, some of them volunteers, who are risking their own lives during a pandemic to turn out and work long hours and through the night to count these votes. And I believe that we're just going to have to let these votes be counted. But I think the concerns are that you have President Trump alleging voter fraud and alleging that it's a rigged election without giving any evidence of that. So that could definitely have ramifications for later. But some analysts are pointing out that, once a victor is established, I mean, the system works when the person who gets 270, we don't know whether that will be Donald Trump or Joe Biden, but whoever gets the 270 is the president, and we don't have to rely on someone conceding or not.
Now, Cindy, we've seen, talking about President Trump conceding or not, we've seen some prominent Republicans coming out, I think the latest being Mitt Romney. Now we know that Romney did not support Trump going into this particular election. Given the rising number of strong criticism coming from respected Republicans, do you think President Trump will listen?
I think it may be a gradual process, and I've also been watching that carefully to see. There's been a lot of silence from Republican quarters, but I saw that the Republican Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, tweeted, let the legal votes be counted. Now, the president is trying to make a distinction between legal votes and illegal votes, although, like I said, independent experts say there's no evidence of any kind of widespread fraud or illegal votes. So it's interesting to see the Republicans coming out, some of them, some who we've seen before, Congressman Kinzinger and others, saying let the votes be counted. Senator Marco Rubio saying, let the votes be counted, and some of the president's children, though, getting angry and frustrated with Republicans and saying any sort of hopefuls for the next go-round presidential race need to speak up now and support the president. So this would seem to be a bit of a moment of truth for the Republican Party, and it's always been an American value, let the votes be counted.
Well, Cindy, thank you so much for your time there. We do appreciate it. That's Voice of America's Cindy Saine.